It all started with a typo. Madeline Cooper, a 28-year-old graphic designer living in Savannah, Georgia, had just wrapped up a long day at work. She was exhausted, mentally drained, and still juggling the stress of planning her sister's bridal shower. She pulled out her phone and quickly typed a message meant for her sister. "Hey, I found those candles you wanted for the centerpieces. Sending you a pic now." She hit send, except it didn't go to her sister. She typed the wrong number. Seconds later, a reply popped up. I don't know anything about centerpieces, but I'm now very curious." Madeline frowned, confused for a second, then realized her mistake. She blushed, even though no one was around. "Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry. Wrong number. Please ignore me." A moment passed. Then another message came through. "No worries. But for the record, those are really nice candles. I'd give them a solid 9 out of 10. She laughed for the first time that day. "Well, thanks, mysterious candle critic. Appreciate the unsolicited rating. Anytime. I'm Nathan, by the way, accidental candle judge. You, Madeline, accidental sender." It could have ended there, but it didn't. Over the next few days, they exchanged a few more texts. It started as jokes, her complaining about bridesmaid duties, him teasing her about being the candle expert. Then came deeper stuff, favorite movies, bad dates, their love-hate relationships with coffee. Madeline found herself smiling every time his name popped up. He lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, just 4 hours away. "I know this sounds crazy," Nathan texted one evening, "but would you ever want to grab coffee? Like in real life?" Madeline stared at her screen. This wasn't something she'd ever imagined. But she wasn't scared. She was curious. "Only if I get to pick the coffee shop." Deal. They met 2 weeks later, halfway, in Columbia, South Carolina. Madeline wore a navy sweater. Nathan had on a jacket that was slightly too big. He was taller than she thought, and his voice was softer than she expected. Over coffee, they talked for 3 hours, then walked for another 2. It felt easy, like they'd known each other in a past life. When she got back to Savannah, she found a message waiting for her. That wasn't weird. That was really nice. Yeah, really nice. They started meeting every other weekend. Charlotte, Savannah, Columbia. Sometimes they'd pick a random small town on the map and meet there just to try the local diners. He learned that she hated pineapple on pizza but loved horror movies. She learned that he secretly wrote poetry but never shared it with anyone. Until her. After 8 months, Nathan moved to Savannah. Not for her, he insisted, but for the weather, the art scene, and maybe the girl who accidentally texted me about candles. They laughed about it all the time. How love found them through a typo. 2 years later, on a beach in Tybee Island, as the sun began to dip into the ocean, Nathan handed Madeline a small notebook. Inside were pages of poems, all of them about her, about the way she laughed, the way she made his world feel softer, the way an accidental text turned into the best decision he never meant to make. On the last page, scribbled in slightly shaky handwriting, were the words, "Will you marry me, Madeline?" Tears welled in her eyes as she looked up to see Nathan holding a ring, nervous, hopeful, and still somehow the same goofy guy who rated her candles. She didn't even let him finish the question. "Yes," she said, laughing through her tears. "Yes, to every single version of this." Today, Madeline and Nathan live in a small craftsman house in Savannah. She still designs, and he finally published his first book of poetry. They tell people they met through mutual friends. But the truth, they met because of a wrong number. Because love sometimes doesn't knock. Sometimes it just texts you by mistake and changes everything.
Long day done, she's tired and slow, texting her sister with candles to show. Pressed send too fast, didn't look twice, but fate had plans behind that device. A stranger replied with humor and cheer, nice candles, I rate them a 9 out of 10 here. She laughed out loud, forgot her stress. Who knew wrong numbers could spark happiness? A wrong text, but the right kind of start. From random words he captured her heart. Talked about coffee and bad date nights, from laughs and chat to city lights. 4 hours apart, but they made time. Met in Colombia, everything felt right. 3 hours talking, 2 hours more, as if they'd met in a life before. Weekend by weekend, love would grow, in diners and laughter in places unknown. She hated pineapple, he wrote in disguise, now shared his poems with stars in her eyes. A wrong text, but the right kind of start. From random words he captured her heart. Talked about coffee and bad date nights, from laughs and chat to city lights. 4 hours apart, but they made time. Met in Colombia, everything felt right. 3 hours talking, 2 hours more, as if they met in a life before. Weekend by weekend, love would grow, in diners and laughter in places unknown. She hated pineapple, he wrote in disguise, now shared his poems with stars in her eyes. A wrong text, but the right kind of start. Who would have thought it'd be to heart, not plan, not search, no grand design. But love sometimes just crosses the line. On Tybee Island, sunset glow, he gave her poems, his heart in every flow. One final page with trembling tone, will you marry me? In words he'd sung. She said yes, with tears in her eyes, to every mistake that turned out so right. Now they laugh at how fate played a part, a wrong text that led to one beating heart. This is Love Radio, where hearts begin to speak, where memories and moments are everything we seek. From joy